We have officially reached the most absurd, dystopian stage of modern finance. You can now legally take out a loan for a $15 burrito. You eat the whole thing today, but you are legally in debt to a massive fintech corporation for the bite next week, the bite after that, and the bite next month. I want you to really think about how crazy that is. Imagine walking into a physical brick and mortar bank. Let's say you walk into Chase Bank. You sit down with a loan officer in a suit, and you sit there with the finance officer, look them straight in the eyes, and say you want to finance your lunch over the next 4 weeks. They would laugh you out of the building, but put it on a sleek app with some pastel colors and call it buy now, pay later. And suddenly, it's normal. We were being told that splitting our payments is a convenient budgeting tool, an empowerment app for the modern consumer. But the reality is much darker. These companies have engineered a perfectly gamified financial trap. They are designed to trick your psychology, normalize micro debt, and turn you into a permanent subscription for your own life. Today, we're breaking down how the buy now, pay later trap works, the secret way they make their billions, and why paying off these microloans are actively destroying your credit score. Now, in making this video, you could say I did some investigative research. I spent about $35 on this pizza. In reality, what they tried to get me to do is spend $8.75 for the next 4 weeks. To understand why you keep falling into this trap, you have to understand the psychology of how we buy things. For decades, stores have been desperately trying to solve one massive problem: how to disconnect the physical feeling of losing money from the act of buying something. I want you to think about it. When you buy something with a $100 bill, you literally have to pull it out of your wallet, hand it to a cashier, and walk away. You feel the immediate physical pain, and your brain naturally calculates the trade-off. Your brain will ask, is this jacket worth the same amount of money as a week's worth of groceries? If the answer is no, you don't buy it. Cash creates friction. Now, credit cards were the first invention to solve this. They erased the physical friction. You swipe the plastic and you get the item, and your bank account looks the same exact way as it did yesterday. The pain gets delayed until the end of the month. But credit cards still had one massive flaw for those massive corporations, and that's simply the price tag. Let's say you're scrolling online and you see that PlayStation 5 or that designer jacket for $500. When you look at that item, the price tag stands out. A big black letter saying $500. And your eyes jump straight to that total price. Your brain sees that 500 figure and immediately registers it as danger. You think, I don't have $500 right now. That's my car payment. And you immediately abandon the cart. Buy now, pay later was engineered to hack your eyesight. By splitting the payment into 4, they can legally hide the true price of that item. You don't see that $500 jacket anymore. You see $125. Your brain mathematically sees a fake massive discount. It completely bypasses your financial defense system. The thought process is that you'll think, I have $125 in my checking account. I can absolutely afford this. You just signed a legally binding debt contract. According to recent data, 57% of Americans are using buy now, pay later, and are doing it specifically to buy something they literally do not have the money for. They are tricking you into a lifestyle that you cannot afford by making the math look tiny. Now, the biggest question that I always see asked in regards to these buy now, pay later programs: how do these large corporations make all this money considering the fact they're charging 0% for these incremental payments? And what is that catch? Well, the catch is a business strategy they refer to as a loss leader. Think of it like this. If you go to Costco, you can buy a massive rotisserie chicken for just $5. Costco actually loses money on every single chicken that they sell. You can look that up, but they don't care because they know in order to get to that $5 chicken, you have to go to the back of the store. You have to walk past the giant TVs at the front of the store, the laptops, and the expensive couches. The chicken is the bait to get you in the door. Companies like Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay are doing the same exact thing. The 0% interest loan is just like the rotisserie chicken, except they're doing it with your DoorDash meal or even the new Jordans. They actually lose millions of dollars on the origination fees alone just to acquire you as a customer. They are perfectly happy giving you the money today because they know a fundamental issue with human beings. We are terrible at keeping track of time. Now just think about this. Think about how annoying it is to keep track of your Netflix, your gym membership, or even that pesky Spotify membership that continues to increase every month. Now imagine taking that mental load and multiplying that by 20. When you use buy now, pay later, you aren't just paying one bill at the end of the month. You have $15 coming out on Tuesday for your lunch. You have $45 coming out on Thursday for shoes. You have $22 coming out the following Monday for that new video game that you wanted. Eventually, this web of micro debt overwhelms your wallet. Payday lands on Friday, but your payment was due on Thursday. You miss a payment, and that's exactly how that trapdoor opens up. The second that you stumble, that free money completely disappears. You're instantly hit with late fees. Then they generously offer you to extend that timeline to give you more breathing room, but it's no longer at 0%. You're suddenly hit with interest that can exceed over 36%. Let me put that into perspective. The average terrible credit card charges 24% interest. These apps are hooking you with the illusion of free money waiting for you to drown in the complex payment schedule, and then locking you into an interest rate that is mathematically worse than a predatory credit card. You are the bait, and the late fees are the actual business model. But just getting you to overspend was not enough. The financial sector has realized they can make even more money if they turn your survival into a video game. We're being trained to treat our debt like a casino. There's a massive trend right now of apps gamifying your bills. There's a service right now called Built where you can pay your rent and earn points. And honestly, it sounds amazing. Now, obviously, rent will be the most expensive expense that you'll probably have in your day-to-day life. And now we're treating it like it's some arcade game. But the point system is a deliberate maze. They cap the rewards that you earn, and the points magically expire. And if you get confused by their overly complicated terms and accidentally leave a balance on that card, that massive interest rate that's waiting for you will completely wipe out all of those points that you've earned over the years. There are even apps popping up that run literal slot machine mechanics where you can gamble the debt that you just accumulated for a chance to win it back. And I'm not making this up. You buy something that you can't afford, and then you spin a digital wheel to see if the app will forgive the debt. They're conditioning you to check your phone for dopamine hits instead of checking your bank account to see the reality. But remember the golden rule of the casino. The house always wins. Now here's the brutal reality of this entire system. Let's say you're perfectly responsible. You pay off every single microloan on time and never pay a cent of interest. Even if you play the game perfectly, you're still destroying your financial future. To understand why, you have to understand how the credit score actually works. Think of a credit score like a job resume for your money. When you go to buy a house or a car, the bank will look at your resume to see if you're reliable. 15% of your total credit score is dictated by total credit length. A traditional credit card is a normal revolving line of credit. If you open a card and keep it for 10 years, that looks amazing on your resume. It shows you have 10 years of consistent, stable pay with one specific lender. That's great. But buy now, pay later loans do not work like that. They are singular, isolated accounts. Every time you buy a pizza on DoorDash and pay it off a month later, an entirely new account is opened on your credit bureau and then permanently closed a month later. Now imagine looking at a resume and there's someone with 50 jobs, but he quit every job after 3 weeks. You wouldn't hire him. He looks erratic and unstable. And this is exactly what you're doing with the buy now, pay later loan. You aren't building a strong aged profile. You're flooding the report with dozens of small closed accounts. The bank's algorithm's gonna read this as total chaos. The average age of your credit plummets. You thought you were being a responsible consumer paying off that burrito on time, but you just actively disqualified yourself from getting a great rate on that mortgage. We have normalized the middleman in every single transaction that we've made. We're doom scrolling, doom spending, and these companies are getting filthy rich off the fact that they think you're too tired to do the math. When you look at the reality, spending $50 and breaking it into 4 simple payments didn't mean you outsmarted the system. It just means that you couldn't afford that $50 item. Stop letting the banks hijack your eyes with those very small numbers. It's a design game to ensure that you fail and to keep you poor. If you thought this video was interesting, you're gonna absolutely love this video relative to housing prices and this video relative to the crazy car market that we currently have. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.